So what I'm going to do this week is I'm just going to make a video dipping into the ships, how they'll affect Veta and what I believe we're going to see in these systems, and we're going to compare it to some of the other stuff. Now I do have experience with naval combat in games, and just off the top of my head to say one, well, let's say Atlas. Obviously I know it's a more survival game, but some of the systems they used in that game and some of the PvP or the PvE or the way you could customize and repair, some of the skills that you could get when you were fighting and trying not to get sunk were really unique. And then you have people talking about it's going to be similar to Archage or maybe even BDO, so I kind of want to dip into that, give my opinions, get some of your feedback, and hopefully as Alpha 2 progresses, as the game develops, our feedback can help shape this into a truly next generation naval system experience for all of us. So the information, the facts we know so far about Ashes is ships are going to be owned by the player who has the ship item in their inventory, and it can only be summoned by that player, and it can only be summoned at a harbour or a port. Now ships are created by players, but they will be NPC ships. So for example, if you're doing a quest line or something to do with one of the coastal nodes we talked about in the last video, you're going to have NPC driven ships where maybe they're to do with a quest line, maybe there's a protecting quest for that ship, or there's some monster at sea you need to defend it from, or maybe it just takes you a transportation ship. These are the type of NPC ships. Now when it comes to player owned ships or player owned boats, you're going to have permissions for the people that are in your party, so say your raid party, to be able to use the weapons, the anchors, the ship utility items, and maybe even the helm sword driving it. Now that really does bring some decent diversity into it, and I think it's something that needs to be implemented, because if you're killed and you're out at sea, and or maybe you disconnect, or maybe something happens in real life, kids come into the room, you turn around, you've got to go AFK, you're going to lose quite a lot, and these things are going to happen in real life. So at that point, one of your members or guild members or family members can jump in, take over steed in that ship, they can control the weapons, and you have a chance at surviving. And it just brings in that community element, going out to sea and ship battling and just kind of enjoying it, and just going out with your guild and just, you know, attacking some people or maybe defending someone if you're a mercenary guild. It really is useful, and this was the type of stuff I seen in Atlas, and it really made the experience more enjoyable when your planks are took out and your members are down the bottom trying to get the water out there, trying to refit the planks, and there's a cooldown, and you're all just trying to survive. Even sometimes when you were sunk and you lost a lot, it was actually a fun experience and enjoyable, and you learn from your mistakes and you wanted to go back out there and do it again. But if you're on your own, that's a big problem. You're probably going to lose the ship, and I think it brings a little less fun to the table, but that's just my opinion. So what are we going to get in Alpha 2 boat wise or ship wise? Well, you're going to get access to small, medium and large boats. So you're going to have access to the personal vessels, or what they're calling frigates. So think like brigantines, they normally have 4 or 5 cannon ports either side. Then your large galleons, but that's all based on, you know, how the ships come out in Ashes and what they design them like. But jumping into the small vessels, or the you know, the starter ships, you're probably going to get these early game, maybe about level 15, because if cap on Alpha 2 is level 35, I imagine that's a decent balance, a decent time to get them. You're going to be able to do some probably basic fishing and, you know, travel from A to B, maybe C if you want to verse that, you know, if you risk versus reward, if it's worth going there. But bear in mind, these probably are not going to have very good defenses. It's going to be not resource heavy, so it's going to be something you can kind of knock up and use to get around at the start, but they're going to be crewed by 1 to 3 people. Anything over that, you're not going to be able to get on the ship. Now the medium frigates are up to 8 people, so this is kind of your family system, you know, when you want to get somewhere a bit closer people, or maybe you want to use it as a mercenary thing, maybe you want to try and beef it up. Now I don't know how strong and how customizable these will be, but I imagine they'll be fairly decent. You'll be able to stand your ground because it's a medium vessel, and you know, with 8 people you could probably do some damage, and you could really get out there, maybe hit some fishing, but you could maybe do some piracy, maybe even some of the mini bosses if they've got some out at sea. And they'll definitely be faster, probably have better sails and access to more customization, more health. So these are kind of your ships that the average Joe, for example, or the medium to smaller size guilds will want to mess with, or someone who's a solo maybe wants to bump up from that smaller little ship and get a bit more speed, they'll be probably using these type of ships. The galleons though, so the galleons are going to be raid ships, really huge ships. Now I don't know how many decks or how many levels they're going to have, or sure how many cannons either side, but I imagine a decent amount. You're probably talking at least 12 to 16 either side, maybe even more. We really don't know, but it's going to be a really powerful ship, and these are going to be used for, well, they're meant to be used for raiding and these big raid bosses. But then again, if you really want it to be a hardcore pirate, now if you're rolling around on like a frigate and one of these galleon pulls up, I've had the exact same thing on pirating games. If you're super skilled and you have like the best BPs and the best designed frigate or brig, whatever you want to refer to them as, and you go against the galleon, you maybe line of sight them, hit the front planks, smash the front planks, you can definitely sink them down, potentially survive. But the chances are, unless you're super skilled and the guys on the galleons are, well, pretty special, you're probably gonna get sunk. But these hopefully will be getting used more for the raids, but I reckon there'll be a mix of PvP and the raids. There's going to be a lot of customization with these. There's going to be a lot of things that can be interchangeable. I imagine different types of cannons, potentially small cannons, mediums, large cannons, maybe even swivel guns on the top. So when, for example, with Atlas, when you jump on and you try and attack guys on the boat, you still have these swivel guns and they do serious damage like shotgun burst. Now if someone comes on and they're trying to kill you, to say for example you're fighting and they're like, right, get on your ship, take the navigator out, take the guy who's sailing your ship out, get the controls down, and then they broadside you and smash all your planks, that's going to be a good tactic. Take the people out driving the ship, make it still in the water, sink it. Now if you have these swivel guns and there's one of you and you've lined it or maybe placed it and positioned it correctly and they come at you, you could easily take them out. I've done it loads of times in Atlas and solo defended against loads of people and then managed to get out of there. But we need to know more, and we don't know at the minute. But if they add in these type of things and they think about the PvP and how it's all going to play out, I really think we could be in for some exciting content within the naval system. But just to rewind there, now obviously I said about a brig taking out a galleon, and most folk are just going to think straight away, this guy has no clue what he's on about, clearly he's talking bollocks. Now let me tell you why that can happen. So in experience with these games, with similar systems doing PvP or PvE, if you, for example, have a game that's based on BPs, and luckily for us, Ashes of Creation's naval system will be based around BPs, so if you get all the best, or you sell them, or you get them rare drops, or you trade them, and you have a brigantine or a frigate, whatever you want to refer to it as, and all the cannons on that are, say, there's 5Ts and the NTs are mythic, and the planks and the decks are all mythic, everything about that ship and the sails is mythic, and your crew have the right resources and the right stuff to repair and are organised with the class buffs, for example, if they're in the game for Alpha 2, and you go out and you come up against a 40-man galleon that's just a primi, there's nothing special about it, it's kind of just been knocked up by a bigger Zerg guild, but they haven't got the best BPs, and you start fighting them, and this has happened to me loads of times. We've went out on brigs that were mythic and took out loads of primi galleons so many times, and we've had the same to us. We've been out on a galleon when we first got it thinking it was going to be super OP, but the brigs just had better BPs and better cannons and everything, and we got smashed. Now if you line of sight this galleon with a mythic brig, with mythic cannons, and you aim, say the plank system similar, you take them planks out and they start getting water and you hit them again, the health you're going to have, the weapons, the damage abilities, the hit points, turn rate's going to be faster, speed of the ship are slowing down, durability and movement, everything is just going to be on that next level. So it's going to be totally different than just, you know, thinking of it as like a brig or a frig versus, you know, a galleon. These are where it comes to experience and communication between your guild or your friends or the people you meet and are playing with. It's just crazy what, you know, the ships can have an offer. When you just say there's going to be 3 ships in Alpha 2 and they're going to be small, medium or large, and you give them the name, you know, it sounds cool that you're going to get out at sea, but if you really think of how deep they can go with this, and bear in mind this is for Alpha 2 and this is for Beta 1 and Beta 2 and then launch, think of it down the lines of when they add in DLCs and 5 years into the game. The naval system, if they really take feedback and they really look at other games and what they've done, it could piss off at anything and it could be really fun. And if they go down this path, I think you'll be having people that literally just play the game and do naval content. Now a lot of folks say naval guilds won't survive, and initially I think just to say if you're a naval guild you're going to have a really hard time. I'm not saying you're not going to survive, but it's probably unlikely because you're limiting yourself to a specific part of the game. But down the line, is this something you could do consistently for fun, make gold and make a living off, and, you know, really just have something different and challenging to do, yeah, for definite, you could do this. So to jump into more of the PvE now and stem away from the PvP, ship building is going to be a craft and profession in Ashes of Creation. It's kind of going to be part of the artisan system. So there's going to be certain ship components based off the BPs that you get that you can build stuff off, so like that will increase movement, or you know, the speed like we've just talked about, or the defensive abilities, or even the aesthetic customization, so skins of the ship. So you can build all these cannons, you can build all these different type of, say, planks or decks, or maybe other variations of weapons, but then you can also add a skin and customize the way it looks, potentially dye and make something look totally unique to you, which I think is awesome. Because if you're going to go out at sea, you're going to be a pirate, you're going to do some PvE raids, you're going to be recording that, you want to get seen, and you know, your presence matters. This is where that really takes place, and where you can really enjoy customizing it in PvE till your heart's content. Another thing is that if you're wanting to build one of these, ships are going to be crafted in Coastal Node's harbour crafting station. So you will have to, and that brings in another element, you can't just stay at certain nodes. If you want to get a ship, go to a coastal node, go to the harbour and craft yourself a ship. So that means you're going to get out there. You can't just be a citizen of one node and hide away from the world. You will have to venture, you will have to go craft this boat if you really want to explore the world, and I think that's cool. But not just that, you're going to be able to kind of fill certain slots. So maybe one ship you design can be for PvP or raiding, or just aggressively defending a cargo ship, like a utility ship, you know, with utility attachments. So maybe three groups of people have 2 PvP frigatines, and then you have one cargo ship in the middle that's just for weight and just carrying and trading, and the other 2 groups protect that. So there's a lot of customization. So it's not as simple as having small, medium and large ships. There is variations within these sizes, within these ships, that you can really design and tweak, and there's just so much customization. It really is cool. And also you can name the ship, so you can have a specific name. It won't just be, you know, your guild or you, it'll have its own name, and when you click on it, that'll be highlighted, it will show the ship's name, which is just more customization, more personalized, you know. And not just that, when you're trying to find someone, maybe you've just engaged, you've been fighting and they're going across the ocean, you can communicate with your other alliances or other friends or other guild members and say, this was the name of the ship, this is the guild, and they've just attacked us, they're aggressive, and you can kind of hit them, follow them, or have these little ship battles. There's just so much you could do with this information, and I think it's really cool, and it's clearly intrepid to thinking all this through. But what do you think? Does your opinion differ from mine? Are you not looking forward to this? Do you want to see more? Or is there another game that I haven't referred to, or a game I haven't experienced that's got these really good systems you'd like to see? Drop that in the comment section down below. It really does help, and the feedback is key for Intrepid, it's key for us learning and you know, helping to shape this game. And for me personally, I'm always wanting to see other stuff and other people's opinions. If you do want to continue the talks after the video and you are an Ashes nerd like myself and many others, feel free to join our Discord, links in the description. It's kind of a smaller community, but we are quite active around Ashes and like to talk about it. It is also a guild Discord, but you know, it doesn't matter, we're kind of changing it and shaping it into something a bit different. And once again, like, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. I am newer to the content creation around Ashes Creation, but I have followed it for years. But I really do appreciate you watching the videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.